81. If you remember, we learned last week.
I only had 4 pages.
I know. We learned last week. It's based on the Maimah. I'll tell you what the pasuk is. It started off, Koil Doidi Hine Zeba. The voice of my uncle is coming. Medalig al is jumping on the mountains, and Mikapetz al Gvois, and is skipping the hills. Doime Doidi Litzvi. This uncle is like a deer. Tzvi is like it's a chaya, a deer. So now we're holding now to explain what is Koil Doidi, Medalig al. What does it mean? When did Hashem say that the voice of Hashem is jumping over the mountains? When did it happen that the voice of Hashem was jumping over the mountains? The Koi al Yitzias Mitzrayim. When the Jews left Mitzrayim, that's what it means. Koil Doidi Hine Ze Ba Medalig al. Why? Why by Yitzias Mitzrayim? What is the translation of the word koil with a kuf? Voice. So what voice are we talking about? Hashem's voice? How many times do we say Friday night in Mizmor LaDavid the word koil?
We said
how many times altogether?
18.
No, in one chapter. 7 times. Why 7? Whenever you say the word koil with a kuf on Hashem, it means hamshacha. Hamshacha means Hashem coming down. Just like when I talk. What am I saying? I'm sharing with you a thought that I'm thinking of. So the whole idea of a voice is to be able to come to you and relate a voice or a message that I have in my mind. However, Yosef,
Yes.
over here, there's 3 chairs for you. 3. Number 1, what kind of voice is there? He says there are 2 types of voices. Koil Gadol and Koil Katan. Where do we find it? In the Torah. In the Torah it says by Hashem, Koil Gadol v'lo Yasaf. A voice, a loud voice that never stops. Koil Gadol. What's Koil Katan? And what's Koil Gadol? So he says, Koil hu b'chinas hamshacha. When you say a voice by Hashem means Hashem coming down. That means He's relating to us. Ve'ena kol gashmi, the adarabba, zenika kol zuta shenimshach min amidas al adiber heimetzo yisapeh. The lower voice means that it comes from your thought to your words. That's called a low voice. When a low, it doesn't have too much energy in it.
It's like the daily use.
The daily use, and it's divided in 5. Why? Because you have 5 expressions in your mouth to say words. Everyone knows the 5. The throat, the lips, the teeth, the palate, and the...
Cheeks.
Yeah. So like Aleph, Hey, Ches, Ayin is the throat. Aleph. Hey. Yes. Then you have Gimel, Yud, Bet, Mem, Vav, Pei is the lips. The teeth. You understand? Tzadik. I need my teeth. If I don't have teeth, it's not going to be tzadik. It's going to be sav, tzadik. Because you have to be able to tza. It has to come tza. But the point here is, that's called a voice of a very low level voice that comes from your mind to your words. I think about something and I want to share it with you. I thought of an idea, I shared it with you. So that's called kol zuta. But then there is kol gadol. You know where kol gadol comes? Kola pnima de lo ishtama. That's a voice you don't hear. It's such a loud voice you can't hear it. Where does it come from? It comes from mehelem el agilu min haseichel el amidos el haseichel el amidos. So normally when I speak, Where did the words come from? My mind. Who's there? הוא רוצה לבוא לו. So normally a voice comes from your thought to your speech. But this voice doesn't come from your thought to your speech. It comes from your feelings to your intellect, which is called kala pnima'a, the la ishtamei, which is kol gadol, which is ha'ara gadola l'mayla mishtalshalus, which is called koil. So basically you have two voices. You have a voice that you can hear. It comes from your mind to your words. Then there's a voice that is deeper. It comes from your feelings, from your deep intellect, and from above intellect. I'll give you an example. On Rosh Hashanah, you blow the shofar. What is the mitzvah of blowing the shofar? L'shmoa kol shofar. No words. Where does this voice of the shofar come from? The inner essence of your heart. I don't bring it in words. I can't carry it in words because then it's such a loud message and deep and elevated. I can't carry it in words. The words won't hold it. It just comes out in a burst of a cry. Sometimes a person hears very good news. They heard they won $100 billion. It doesn't mean it's a good news, but they think it's a good news. They release the hostages. And you just don't, you can't even talk. You're like, it's like such an inner feeling. The only thing you can do is cry. It's like when they interviewed 2 weeks ago, when Idan was coming back actually to Tenafly, so they had a radio, a TV station, I think it was Fox News, they were interviewing. They say, what would you do when you see Idan the first time? What would you do? What would you say? So I said to them, I can't say anything. I'm just going to hug him and cry. Because I can't express it in words. Because it comes from an inner voice that you can't carry in a word. You get the point that I'm saying?
But why would you call it voice if it doesn't have a voice?
Oh, so good. It's called voice because it means hamshacha. You remember we started off, the word koil doesn't mean you hear it. It means whenever I want to bring something down from a higher level to a lower level, that passage of from high to low is called kol. Kol means bringing it down.
Transition.
It's like bringing from seichel to midot, kol. From midot to machshava, kol. From machshava to dibur, kol. So whenever I bring something from a higher level to a lower level, I'm bringing it down. I use the word kol, which is like an expression of bringing it down, bringing it to a lower level. So some voice I can hear, and some I can't. It's called kola de pnimoa de lo ishtameh.
What about the kolot that they heard? הם ראו את הקולות. Remember?
By Har Sinai. By Har Sinai.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something else. That's a,
Rabbi Ishmael and Rabbi Akiva.
yeah, Rabbi Akiva, yeah.
Saying different things about this sentence.
Yeah, what they actually saw, what they didn't see. But the point here is, when I say Kol Hashem B'koach, Kol Hashem B'hadar, the voice of Hashem is in His strength. The voice of Hashem is His beauty. What does it mean? Is there a voice, actually voice that I hear? Or is it an expression of Hashem? Where do I see Hashem in His strength?
B. The answer is B.
Where do I see Hashem in His beauty? Where do I see Hashem in His actions? So it's different levels. That's why Friday night we say 7 times Kol Hashem in chapter 29 in Tehillim.
Number 7 in general is
Oh, 7.
Is war.
Right. So it's already coming down.
Exactly.
Kol Hashem, Kol Hashem, Kol Hashem. And the last one is Kol Hashem Yicholel Ayolot. Yeah? So what's the point? I brought Hashem down in 7 levels. Every level is another one of the 7 midot. So when I bring Hashem into Chesed, Kol Hashem. When I bring Hashem into Gvura, Kol Hashem. When I bring him to Tiferes, it's another expression. But then there is a higher level that I can't even use the word bringing it down because it's a Kol Pnima'a. It's like I said to you before, I cry because I can't bring it in words. So when I blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah, the mitzvah is not to say anything. The mitzvah is just to cry from your heart into that sound. It doesn't have words. Because it's the essence of your neshama expressing. So when Hashem came to take us out of Mitzrayim, what does it say? Koil Dodi, Hine Zeba, Medaleg Alarim. The voice of my uncle, that means Hashem, came and jumped over the mountains. What does it mean? Which voice of Hashem? The inner essence of Hashem came and revealed himself and took us out of Mitzrayim.
Yep.
So Koil Dodi means Hamshacha. Hashem revealed himself and he came down to Mitzrayim and he took us out. Koil Dodi, Hine Zeba, he came to Mitzrayim, Dalig Hala'arim, and he took us out. Which part of Hashem? The essence of Hashem. And that's why it's called Kol. Is that clear now? The only question we have now is what does it mean he had to jump over the mountains? When Hashem comes from there, which mountains does he have to jump? It says Medaleg Ala Harim. So he says, I'll tell you why. The problem is, normally the way Hashem makes things work, there is called the 5-step transition to come from a high level to a low level. You know the 5 steps or no? So you have, let's take by us. We have Sechel, then goes the lower level called Midot, then there's Machshava, there's Dibur, and then there's Maaseh. It's 5 levels when you want to go from a very high spiritual to a lower level. You have to first go down into Sechel, intellect. Then you have to bring the intellect into feelings. Then you have to bring the feelings into your mind. Then you bring the mind into your words. And then the words bring it to action.
So what is equal to Ratzon?
The equal to Ratzon is the Sechel. I want to bring it, I have to bring it. Now, you remember the Ratzon? Yeah, before the everything. Yeah, before the Machshava.
What's the difference between sechel and mind?
Sechel is the thing itself, is the intellect itself. Mind is what is the mind that thinks the intellect.
Houses.
It houses.
Right.
And how to connect it to the word of Atzilut, Bria, etc.
So Atzilus in general is more like, let's call it, is a little, almost like Sechel. It's the Ratzon. And then in Bria is already the feeling. And then there's the Machshava. And then there's the Dibur. And then there's this world. This world is called Olam HaMaaseh. Olam HaAsiyah. Then there's Olam HaBriya, Yitzirah, which is Machshava, Dibur, and Maaseh. But the point here is, normally whenever Hashem brings something down to this world, it goes through 5 steps. So for example, it says on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem decides how much health you're going to have for the year, how much wealth, and how much everything. So how come it doesn't happen? What happens? So it says, Hashem decides, but then it has to go from Ruchniyut and come down to this world. Every step it goes down, there's another ganze, we call it another whole court case, should it go down to the next level. So on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem designated that you're going to have this amount, let's say, I'm just thinking a number, 100 infinite levels, yeah? Now I have to...
System.
Huh?
It's the opposite of the system. We
How?
will go from the bottom, the Supreme Court. It's here.
So what happens is, a lot of times you could get a beautiful year, but it stays beruchniut. Beautiful. You look in your ruchniut, wow, this guy is going to be. But it never came down to the 5 stages. Every day you daven again. Why are you davening again? You already did Rosh Hashanah. Hashem already signed it.
Yeah, but Ruchaniyut did go to the...
To take from Ruchaniyut to Gashmiyut, it needs to go through another. And it's another thing. It's almost like saying to Hashem, how do I translate this in cash in the bank? Meaning, how do I bring this physically? So you have to go through 5 levels. So normally, it's like every day you have to do another, we call it another historut, and another awakening, and say, Hashem, could you bring down to another level, bring it down to another level, so I could see the cash in the bank? Can I see it health in a physical way? Got it? But guess what happened? When Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, medalig ala harim. What does it mean? Medalig means he skipped all the levels. He not only that, he skipped the 5 levels. He says, you know what? If I'm going to have to go through these 5 levels, I'll never get them out. Because they don't deserve it. They weren't like such tzaddikim. It wasn't like, they were worshiping idols like the Egyptians. But Hashem says, you know what? I love them so much. I'm skipping all the bureaucratic... it's like in Israel, if you need to get zoning for a place in Israel, it's like 5...
Don't go to the court.
No, I'm saying there's so much bureaucracy to get there. So Hashem says, Medalig ala harim. I'm skipping all those levels. I'm going straight from the essence to you.
What about now?
One second. Look what he says. V'loi kederech hishtalshelus. I'm not going to do it. Hishtalshelut means like the regular chain of events. Shehu derech ilav olul. Ilav olul means cause and effect. Sheyesh erech v'shayach kemoi. And this is what I said, the 5 levels. Kemoi derech mashal shadibur. When you speak, it comes from machshava. Where does your machshava come? From your midot, your feelings. Where does your feelings come? From the intellect. So you see how it goes? Kol zeh derech hashalshelus. But guess what? Aval b'chinas gilu zeh sh'hay b'shas mitzias Mitzrayim. This revelation that Hashem did when He took us out of Mitzrayim, what does it say? Shenigla aleihem melech malchei hamlachim b'chinas shmoy bilvad shelamayla mishtalshelus. Any can't go through the regular way. It has to skip. You can't do it. That's the idea. When you go, anyone ever went jumping from one mountain to another mountain?
Yeah, every day.
Every day. He knows. When you want to jump from one mountain to another, how do you do it? If you're going to go step by step, you're never going to be able to go to the next mountain. But you can't go from one mountain to another mountain just the regular way of walking. You have to give a jump. Then you can get to the next mountain. If you're not going to jump, and you're going to go the regular 5 steps, you're going to fall straight down. So you have to jump. So the same thing when Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, He had to reveal such a high level, and He jumped all the levels to go and take them out. I once heard a story that the Nazis, Yamach Shemam, one night they came to this, there was hundreds of Jews in a camp, and they said to them, listen guys, at 4 a.m. you should be downstairs, and you have to be outside. There's a big hole, a huge hole, and you have to jump to the other side. If you make it, then you're alive. If you don't make it, you're dead. That's the choice you have. Okay, so now you have to. Everyone is standing here, and you have to jump to the other side, and you jump, and if you don't make it, you know you're dead. So there was one Rebbe, his name was the Bluzhever Rebbe, and he had another Jew next to him, which was like an atheist, which didn't believe in Hashem. And the Rebbe was a chayes. He was 50 years old. How is he going to jump? So. But miraculously, 50, I know. Miraculously, he jumped and he got to the other side.
The atheist?
No, the Rebbe. And then, as he's jumping to the other side, he sees the atheist is doing the same thing. He's jumping, and he also got to the other side. So he turns to the atheist. He says, "How did you do it?" So the atheist says to the Rebbe, "How did you do it?" He says, "I'll tell you what I did. When I was jumping, I was holding on to my father, my grandfather, my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, and I held on to them, and I jumped." So he turns to the atheist, "Who did you hold on?" He says, "I held on to you." And they both survived. They both came out of the... But what's the point? The point is, when you jump above everything, there's no cheshbon. It's not like Hashem said, "Okay, I'm going to take out this Jew or not this Jew." He just said, "I'm skipping everything. I'm taking everyone out. You deserve it or not. Come, we're going." So it couldn't go derech hishtal shalut. It couldn't go the regular routine. It had to be medalig. It had to be by jumping. How do you jump? Going above the levels and not going through the levels. That's the only way I could take you out. There's no other way. Because if I would have to do it the regular way, you wouldn't be able to get out. And that's what it says, Uva Moira Gadol. After it says, Uva Moira Gadol, huh? Yeah, Zeh Gilu Shchina. What does it mean, Zeh Gilu Shchina? Shenigla Aleim B'chinas Melech Shmei B'vad V'nigla Aleim B'gilu Kol Kach. It was such a intense revelation of Hashem. At Shenafal Aleim Moira Gadol. All the Jews were in such awe from such a high, intense revelation. Mibnei Pachad Hashem. Like it says, Hanisa Lakim Lovele Kachas Goy Mekerev Goy. He took a nation from a nation. Got it? Now, page 82. Now, why did Hashem do it? Why did Hashem skip all the bureaucracy and went above his... What caused Hashem to do it? Why? Why did Hashem decide to take Am Yisrael? Guess what? Heharim is b'schus harim. Heharim means in the merit of the mountains. Who are the mountains? Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. It says in the Gemara in Perikama B'Medrash. So in other words, Medalig. Why did he skip and jump? Because Heharim, because of Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Because we come from Abraham, and we come from Yitzchak, and we come from Yaakov. So Hashem says, you know what? I'm not going to go the regular route. I'm going to go above. I'm going to reveal such a high revelation that we skip everything and we take you out of Mitzrayim. However, how do we get this Zchut Avot to work for us? Al Yedei Pesach, Matzah, Umoror. Why Pesach, Matzah, Umoror? Which is again 3. Pesach is 1, the Karban Pesach, the meat. Matzah is the Matzah and the Umoror. Shehein Gimel Kavim Chesed, Gevura, Teferes, by the Jews eating the Pesach and the Jews eating the matzah. When did they eat the matzah? When they were in Mitzrayim. When did they eat the Pesach? When they were in Mitzrayim. When did they eat the maror? When they were still in Mitzrayim. So by the Jews eating Pesach, matzah, maror, they were ma'oirer. Ma'oirer means they awakened. They awakened. L'mayla b'chinas oirer yanim. By them eating Pesach, matzah, maror, which is 3, they awakened Hashem to be awakened, which is Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Atzilus, and therefore there was the dilug v'nigo. That's why Hashem was able to skip. So in other words, by us eating Pesach, Matzah, and Maror, that's the Isiruta de Latata. That means the awakening from us to awaken that Hashem should have the Zchut Avot and skip all the and jump on the mountains and take us out of Mitzrayim.
That's why Bishul Amar Adel Atzal Yidei Chova.
Oh, that's why Pesach, Matzah, Maror, yeah. Okay, so you got it? Mm-hmm. But now here's interesting. In Shir Hashirim, he says, what's the word he uses? A medaleg ala harim. That's what Shir Hashirim uses the word dilug instead of Pesach. In the Torah, it uses Upasach Hashem ala Pesach. Instead of using the word dilug, which is jumping, in the Torah it uses Pasach ala Pesach. He skipped over, meaning it's like jumping, but the Torah doesn't use the word jumping. In Shir Hashirim, he uses medaleg. But in the Torah, when it speaks about, it says Pasach Hashem ala Pesach. What's the difference? Al HaPesach. Petach. Yeah, but not La Petach. Al HaPetach.
יש פסח, דילה, קפץ.
Yeah, so what's the difference? The distance?
פסח is usually small. אתה פוסח על משהו קטן, אתה מדלג על משהו יותר גדול, אתה קופץ על עוד כאילו, this is how it goes.
Okay, but it's interesting in the Torah, it says like this, Upasach Hashem al HaPesach. Hashem skipped to the opening, the Pesach, the doors, because what happened was they put the blood on the door. So he skipped. But it says where he skipped to the door.
Specific.
It says, by Shir Hashirim, it just says, Medalig al Harim, he jumps over the mountains. But where does he go to? In the Torah, he says, Upasach al HaPesach. Why? He says, Va'inu, Shebetoira nema la'iza mokim hoya hadilug. The Torah, if you look in Chumash Parashat Bo, it says where Hashem jumped to. Al ha-Pesach. What does Pesach mean spiritually? B'chinas Malchut. Why is Malchut called the Pesach? Because it's called Zeh Hashar LaHashem. In every world, Petach. What did I say? Pesach? No, Pesach ala Petach. I'm so confused, yeah. I'm sorry, because I say it. I'm still Ashkenazi. I didn't get to the level. I couldn't get to such high level. Pasach ala Pesach.
No, ala Petach.
Ala Petach. I'm sorry. Okay, so the point here is like this. Why is Malchut called a Petach? Why? In every world there's 10 Sfirot. Chachma, Bina, right? You remember the 10. All the way, which is the lowest? Malchut. So if I want to enter any of the 4 worlds, coming from bottom up, where's going to be my entryway? Malchut. Malchut is the lowest of each world. Every world has 10 Sfirot. The lowest of the 10 is Malchut.
Right.
So if I want to get into a world, I have to open up Malchut, and I can get inside. So Malchut is my Petach.
Entranceway.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Oh, so Upasach Hashem ala Petach. What does it mean? Hashem skipped all the levels and came to Malchut. Malchut is the lowest level, and he took us out of Mitzrayim. V'nigla b'chinas melech, b'chinas Malchut, Petach sheyochel yisrael gadol, shezeh nikazeh hasha. Zeh ascholos avedah shem b'chinas sidr, sherak sheoz nigla alei b'chinas harazum b'chinas melech, v'pasach Hashem ala Petach, shenig alei b'chinas Petach. So basically what Hashem did was, he revealed himself at the highest level of Hashem in the sphere of Malchut, and that's how he was able to take the Jews out of Mitzrayim. Over Shir Hashirim, in Shir Hashirim loy nemar le'eze makom hoy hadiluk. When we speak about Shir Hashirim, kol Dodi, hine zeh ba medaleg ala harim, it doesn't say where he went to. Why? Rak nisparish in Shir Hashirim, it just explains be'eze oifen hoy hadiluk. In the Torah, it says where he came to. In Shir Hashirim, it just explains how Hashem had to jump. Because to come to Mitzrayim and to take us out, he had to give a big jump. So in the Shir Hashirim, it explains what kind of jump it was. It was medalig al heharim. Why? V'yesh b'zeh beis perushim. Aleph al heharim means b'schutam. What's b'schutam mean? In the schut of who? Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and Pesach, Matzah, and Maror. Vahabeis, another translation of the word al harim means Lamaila min harim. When I jump on the mountains means I'm above the mountains. When I jump on a mountain means I'm on the mountain. Al harim means on means that I'm going above the mountain. Why? Because Shehemidas Atzilus, the mountains go on Atzilut, but when Hashem revealed himself to take the Jews out of Mitzrayim, is Ha'ara L'mayla Atzilus. It was a light of Hashem that's above the Atzilut. It had to be Medalek al Harim. It had to be a light that's above Atzilut. Because to take them out of Mitzrayim, which they were totally in such a low level, you had to come from such a high light, which is above all the four worlds, which is even Atzilut, and to come and jump everything and go to the Petach, to Malchut, and take them out of Mitzrayim. Is that clear now?
Yeah.
So what's the schut that got us to these three things? Pesach, Matzah, and Morah. Yeah, that got Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So what's interesting is that every time we have Pesach, what's the whole Shir Hashirim? Why do we say Shir Hashirim? Shir Hashirim is a song that David Melech made, Shlomo Melech made when representing the Jews going out of Mitzrayim and getting the Torah. That's the whole Shir Hashirim. Why? Because that's when Hashem took us out and He married us. Well, how did He marry us? He took us out. He gave us the Torah and He said, listen guys, I'm your husband, you're my wife. Let's get married. Here's the Torah, the contract, and called it. But why did Hashem do it? Like, what inspired Hashem to go and skip all these levels and go beyond and above and go all through? B'schut heharim Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov. And He gave us the three mitzvahs of eating Pesach, Matzah, Morah in Mitzrayim. So that awakened Hashem to say, you know what, I'm going to treat them on a higher level, skip all the bureaucracy, and take them out of Mitzrayim and bring them to Har Sinai and give them the Torah. So it's not on our merit. It's not like we were such good tzaddikim. It's b'schus haharim of Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and the mitzvahs that we did, that Hashem did it for us. So it wasn't because, oh, wow, this is like, no. It wasn't.
They did once Pesach. We do it for 2,000 years already.
No.
So in effect, it's retroactive, it's not present.
Right. No, but it is present every
No, but
Pesach.
it's retroactive in the fact that it's on our merit from the past.
Okay, but the point here is that the whole idea of Pesach is going, jumping above and beyond any obstacles. There's nothing in the way. There's no boundaries. There's no limitations. It just skips everything because of Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Pesach, Matzah, Morah. That skips everything, and there's nothing in the way. Just to end off, an interesting thing. The same thing it says with a Kohen. When a Kohen gives Birchat Kohanim, so normally when a blessing, when you get a blessing from someone, there's like a process. Do you deserve it? You don't deserve it? It's like a whole process. Do you get it? Don't get it? When you go do it, when you have Birchas Kohanim, it says it skips all the boundaries, and that's why last week we read that they put a stick in the every shevet put one stick in the Kodesh Kadoshim, and there was one stick that grew almonds. It says Vayotze Perach, Vayotze Tzitz, Vayigmor Shkedim. Why? Why did it grow almonds? Why not apples? Why almonds? And you were able to see the three stages. Vayotze Perach, you saw the Perach. Vayotze Tzitz, the second, and then Vayigmor Shkedim. So you could see from what? From a dry stick. So the Torah says, you know why? Because Shkedim is the fastest growing peri. That means from when the Vayotze Tzitz till you have a Shked is 21 days. So it's saying that the Birchat Kohanim goes so fast that it's like the Shkedim, it comes straight down. There's no nothing in the way. The same thing is when it starts the 3 weeks. It says Makel Shaked Ani Ro'eh Yirmiyah said, I see a stick with shkedim, and Hashem says, Shoked alni al dvarai la'asod. I'm going to do the 3 weeks of the Churban Beit HaMikdash, all that. That's going to be fat, Yirmiyah. But then you have the 3 weeks between Rosh Hashanah and Shmini Atzeres. So it's also 3 weeks, because it's 21 days. So the 21 days of Rosh Hashanah till Shmini Atzeres is the Shkedim that's supposed to knock out the 21 days of Shivasa B'Tammuz to Tisha B'Av. So instead of Makel Shaked in a negative way, it's Makel Shaked in a positive way, that Hashem skips all the boundaries and takes all the Jews out of Mitzrayim and out of Galut without any limitations. L'chaim, l'chaim.
זה קשור לעזרת אבותינו?